Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the Rideshare Hub. My name is Dylan, and thank you so much for coming by. So without further ado, let's get into 9 of the most common scams that Uber and Lyft drivers face every single day. Number 1, when your passengers try to fit in more passengers than you even have room for. So as you can see, I have 3 seats in the back, and then I have my personal seat, and then 1 more. So I can take only up to 4 people. However, I cannot tell you how many times I show up and they have 5 people, they have 6 people, and they want to cram all inside. And they're like getting upset at me that I won't take them. And they tell me, oh, my last driver did it. Haha, that's funny. Oh, your last driver did it? Yeah, you made him risk getting a ticket, maybe losing his license. Yeah, as a driver, you are not allowed to take more people than you have room for. And the reason this is a scam is because the passengers are trying to get a cheaper ride. They don't want to pay for 2 Ubers or Lyfts. They don't want to pay for an XL one, which does cost more. They're trying to get the cheapest ride, so do not fall for that. It's not worth it. It's not worth going down the block, even if they tip you extra. Just say no, sorry. I can take, up to 4 or 6 or however many seatbelts you have, and then they can order a new one. All right, the second one, this one is a little bit more rare, not as common at all. I personally have not had this happen to me, but I do know people who have. But it's people who call you and pretend to be Uber and Lyft employees. So this is most commonly done once you get a ride and it's like your passenger's now has your phone number, right? Your passenger, or whatever, your fake passenger will call you and say, hey, this is Uber support, I just need your password to verify your account. Sometimes they even threaten drivers and say, oh, your account might be deactivated. I just need to go in and get your password. And all they're doing, they're getting your password and they're depositing your funds into their bank account. I know, it's crazy, it's horrible, but it's a scam. So if anyone ever calls, texts you, pretending, or even just claiming to be an employee and wanting your password, trust me, if they're an actual employee, they do not need your password. They can see it all on their end. But yeah, just hang up and report that passenger to Uber or Lyft. So yeah, do not fall for that one. That's a bad one. Okay, the third scam, and for this reason, I never accept rides from people if the person who ordered the ride is not physically present. So a lot of times you will run into people who order rides for their friends or their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and you'll show up and usually you can see the pin of the actual person there, but you might show up and it says Rebecca on here, and there's a guy and his name's Bob and he wants a ride. I just say no now, because basically what usually happens is you'll pick somebody up, well, I wouldn't say usually, but a lot of times you'll pick somebody up and then halfway through the ride, the person who ordered the ride will just cancel it. And now you're stuck with a random stranger, and that person didn't even order the ride in the first place. It was like their friend. And you have to like pull over on the side of the road and you miss out on the fare. So that's a bad scam. But basically, if the person who orders the ride, if they're not there, if they say, oh yeah, my friend ordered the ride, just don't accept it, unless they're super trustworthy. I don't know, but usually I will not accept them, because there's also insurance reasons if that's not the correct passenger, and it just gets all messy. So I only accept the person if they are physically present at the pickup location. All right, the fourth scam, I literally hate this one. Yes, I know hate is a really strong word. I hate this one. There are so many like scam companies popping up, and they are reaching out to Uber and Lyft drivers, and they're saying, oh, hey, sign up for do you hate Uber and Lyft as much as we do? Sign up for our company. We'll pay you 100% of the fares, and all you have to do is pay $100 a month or $200 a month. Oh yeah, we don't have an app yet, but sign up and you can start recruiting all your friends and family members too. There's so many of them. I can't, I have a Facebook group, you can join it if you want, but there's people who post in there all the time, and I just have to block all of them because they're straight up scamming people. And I know a lot of drivers are frustrated with the rate cuts and the rate changes all the time, so they're taking advantage of that and then telling drivers, like, good people like you and me trying to make a living, promising them that they're going to get rich. And so basically they're basically they're like MLMs, multi-level marketing companies. So some of them are more legit than others. So, you know, sign up if you know, I'm not going to sign up, but I can't stop you if you do. But be wary of that. If somebody that I trust, if, you know, I do like you guys, so I'll just suggest to you, you know, if my friend came up to me and asked me, hey, should I sign up for this company? This weird company you have to pay a membership for? I say no. So I'll tell you guys, just say no. All right, the fifth one. This one is probably the most awkward scam that you might face. I have never had this happen to me, but I have seen this happen countless times. I've seen video evidence of it, but it's passengers who actually, during the middle of the trip, they cancel the ride. And I say it's awkward because a lot of times you kind of get notified in the app that the trip is canceled. However, usually when people do this, if they're smart, like, you know, the scammers, the smart scammers, they will tell you, hey, you know, you don't need to go through the app GPS. I'll just tell you how to get there. Usually it's like really long rides, and you'll be like, oh, cool, you know, I don't need to stare at the GPS. You know, maybe you do know how to get there, maybe if you're familiar with the area. And they're basically doing that, so you put your phone away and then they just cancel the ride and they get a free ride. What the heck? I know, it's horrible, but it happens. So make sure you always have your phone up and your Uber app or your Lyft app on so you are notified. And if this does happen, you need to pull over right away and drop them off wherever you are, because now they're just a stranger in your car and you're not getting paid for it. It's not being tracked. Don't finish the ride. Just drop them off and say, hey, sorry, I need to pull over. You can reorder a new Uber or Lyft, but I'm not your driver anymore. I'm just pretty much a stranger and you're sitting in my car. If they refuse to get out, call the police, you know. Don't try to physically pull them out of your car, because that has, you know, stuff like that does happen. Call the police, let them, you know, pull them out of the car or whatever they decide to do. So yeah, this is, you know, you're driving your car as your own personal property, unless you're renting a car, then I guess it's not your own personal property. But all right, the sixth scam. This one, people are smart. They figured out the Uber and Lyft algorithm with this one. So you guys know about surge pricing, right? When the rates are higher than usual. What some passengers do, they figure out, maybe they might even be a driver, they figure out where the surge is, and they will set their pickup location outside of a surge zone to avoid the higher rate. And then instead of you driving there, they'll call you and be like, oh hey, you know, I accidentally set in the wrong location, can you pick me up here instead? What they're doing, you know, you can either decide to pick them up or not, but what they're doing is they are basically hacking the, you know, the system, the algorithm, to get a cheaper ride, a non-surge ride, or a non-prime time, you know, a non-higher rate ride. They're always changing the names, but yeah, be wary of that. So if you are finding yourself picking somebody up in a different pickup location that they told you, just know that that's probably what is going on. All right, and the seventh scam that Uber and Lyft drivers face, this one happens a lot at night, especially if you're going to bars to pick up people at the end of the night, or nightclubs or parties. Maybe if you're in a college town, you're picking people up from a fraternity party. A lot of times what happens is you'll just get random people hopping in your car and pretending to be your passenger. And they're just, again, they're scamming you, scamming Uber and Lyft, trying to get a free ride. And this is why it is absolutely important. This is the solution. Always keep your doors locked whenever you're picking up riders, and always ask what their name is. Never assume that you have the correct passenger, because if you get a random person coming in and you just turn around and say, hey, are you Becky? If that person's drunk and they're trying to get a free ride, they'll just be like, yeah, I'm Becky. And that's not Becky, that's Beatrice. And so now, you know, you're just picking up a random stranger. So you always want to keep your doors locked, roll down your window and say, hey, what's your name? And once they verify the correct name that you have on your app, you know, don't show them your app, or don't tell them your name. You know, they can look at the license plate and confirm that's the correct car. Always make them confirm their name with you. That is the #1 security measure that you can do, is actually getting the correct passenger. So I highly recommend it. I just took an Uber to the airport the other day. And he asked me, hey, what's your #1 piece of advice? He was a new driver, and that's what I told him. I said, always keep your doors locked and always ask your passenger, what's your name? Never assume you have the correct password. That's my #1 piece of advice for that one. So do not fall for that scam. Scam number 8, we're almost done, guys, is this one is super common for some reason. People figure that this is a really easy way to get a free ride. Is what they'll do is they will be going, say you're driving them to In-N-Out, right? Say you're driving them to In-N-Out, and then halfway through the ride, or maybe in the first minute, they'll say, oh, you know what, can we go to McDonald's instead? Or can we go to the other In-N-Out? Or sometimes they'll even say, oh, can you go this weird way? And in Uber and Lyft's perspective, it looks like you just got lost and you went the completely wrong way. And that passenger will report you and say, oh, my driver got lost. Can I get a free ride? And Uber and Lyft, you know, they always trust the passengers. So what you have to do as a driver, unfortunately, you know, you have to say, well, you know, it's pretty easy fix, but anytime I have a rider asking me, hey, can we go to a different location? I say, yes, of course, but you need to change it in the app, in your app. So that way, you know, it looks like we're not getting lost. If they want me to go a super weird way, I always say, hey, you know, I got to follow the GPS, and, you know, I'm trying to get this ride done quickly, and I'm not trying to go a really long route. So that's how you do not get scammed by that one. All right, and the last and final scam number 9. This is super bad. A lot of drivers unfortunately get deactivated for this because some passengers, guys and girls, some passengers are just bad people. They're liars. They have a fabulous ride, you know, you get, you know, 5-star experience. They probably should have even tipped you. However, what they'll do is they'll immediately rate you 1 star and lie to Uber or Lyft and say you were speeding or driving dangerously or flirting with you, or saying something inappropriate. Or sometimes they'll even say, yes, because this happened to my buddy Dustin from the YouTube channel Dustin is Driving. He got deactivated from Lyft because one of his passengers lied to Lyft and said that he was drunk driving when the passenger herself was like super drunk, because Dustin, he said the girl was trying to bring in a cup of alcohol, and he said, hey, sorry, you can't drink in my car. And he actually even said, you know, you can finish it outside, you know, you can do whatever you want outside, and then you can come back in. He didn't just deny them. So he was like meeting him halfway, and that girl still got really mad at him and took the ride still. You know, I probably would suggest if the rider is like upset with something like that, just cancel it, because, you know, you don't want these negative ratings or bad ratings anyway. But like I said, a lot of passengers will just lie to try to get a free ride. It's called a false report. So the best way to do that is, if you ever are picking somebody up and they look mad or they're angry with you, just say, hey, sorry, you know, I'm a driver for Uber and Lyft, and I don't get paid enough to deal with this, because, you know, we really don't. You know, we shouldn't be getting people who are treating us poorly, and probably if they're mad at you, they're probably going to mess up your car too. They're probably going to spill something. So just better just to avoid it and say, hey, sorry, you know, I'm going to move on. I do that all the time. I just cancel rides if someone's arguing with me. You know, I'm not going to argue with somebody and then drive them 30 minutes. It's going to be awkward anyway. So anyways, guys, those are the 9 of the most common scams that Uber and Lyft drivers face. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this does help. Have a great day, guys. I will talk to you all soon.